Welcome once again to Love Them Knives. We try and reach out and do some crazy, weird stuff. I guess I shouldn't have Reich knives showing on this. Let's have it like this. Because, yes, Reich Knives makes this, but it's not a Reich knife, okay? It's not a Reich brand knife. It's the Forever Steel Alkaid. It's the Alcade. And what? It's a push dagger. Oh, it's a folding knife. Oh, it's both. And here's the stats on it. It's a M390 and all this. We'll talk about this in a bit, right? But what does it look like? It looks like the WE Typhoeus. Yes, a wee bit of a resemblance there to the Typhoeus. But the Typhoeus won't do this. It won't do this. And I'll do, this is really the easiest way to fold this knife. I'm pulling here and I'm pushing with this, okay, at the same time. The Typhoeus will not do that. It will not fold up as a normal knife. And there's nothing normal about this knife, but this is as normal as it gets, correct? I mean, and you've probably seen knives where they've got this spring thing going across the top as a lockup. And if you look at this tension bar here, and look at these, they're riding that as a track until they get over here, and then they drop into those little circular areas, okay? So over, drop. Now, it's locked up, and it's pretty locked up. I mean, that wouldn't be easy to disengage because it's not easy to disengage. You got to lift that tension bar up, you know, see what I'm saying? Got to lift it up enough to get it over there, and then you're good. And then conversely, when it rests here, there's a bit of a little cupped area in here for that as well. So really, this is like the easiest way to do it because you're pulling down and pushing up at the same time. It seems so much lighter to be able to do this. Now, obviously, this is not fidget factor, flippable, you know, one-handed, whatever, unless you can do the pull up and the push down on the blade at the same time, which, yeah, it's possible because I just did it. Okay, but I don't know that I would recommend that. But this is a fascinating knife because it has a little lock back here, okay? This means it's locked. This means this button will not engage, okay? Take that lock off. Now, you can flip it to a push dagger. And my feeling about this is I've had the Typhoeus in my hands and I don't have it anymore. I did a video on it. You can check the video on the Typhoeus. I'll put it down below. But I think I've got more finger room here, because that was one thing I think I was mentioning with the Typhoeus was when I put my finger in this area here, it seemed constricted. Now, I got fat ass fingers, but there's guys with fatter fingers, so there, and they might be more constricted. But I think this is giving me a feel, if you look at it, and maybe you can even eyeball it. Doesn't this seem like a bigger opening here than this? You see what I'm saying? Okay. And then, of course, this side, yeah, that's a no-brainer. That's open there, and it's open here, too. Okay. Now, the Typhoeus was a measly little, like, $300 and whatever dollars. This is $520, so yikes. But you can buy it on Keto USA, and they'll ship it to you, and they're in the USA. And so push the button and kick it back up into this position. Now, the thing is, you go, oh, well, but if I'm holding this knife, what if my finger pushes that button and then it can just, you know, it can just fold right up here? You can lock it out, okay? That's number one answer. You can lock this out. This will now not disengage, okay? Okay? Now, Regardless of that, though, now it will, okay? And then you can put the lock on here, and then this button will still not allow you to fold this back up. But regardless of that, okay, once it hits here, it's not going to flop around and go back and forth, okay? I believe the Typhoeus, you know, the only thing that kept it together was keeping it together with your hands, right? But this locks in place, but it can be released with the button. This one locks in place and can be released with the button. And you can do that. So all while it's unlocked here. So it could still, you know, do this. All right? But to make sure that it's locked out, you kick this, and now you can't do anything, right? Weird. Small knife, not a real big knife. Let me see if I got a little piece of paper. Okay. M390 blade, titanium. Ooh. Oh, baby. Okay, they got a pretty good edge on here. It's really close to what I would rate as scary sharp. And I wasn't expecting that, actually. I was figuring it's going to be fair to middling. But no, this is a pretty good edge. It's at least factory with a plus, you know, on the plus side, sharper side of a standard factory edge. So it's good that way. Supposed to be M390, titanium. Does Reich knife, do they make M390 shit? Yeah, I mean, they make M390 knives, integrals, and, you know, all their Thor 6 and Thor 7 and, you know, all their Thor series knives were integral with this and that. And of course, they made the Scavenger for Andre de Villiers, and that was crazy. You know, just their machining skills are incredible. And so there's this. And then there's a knife called the Rebel Ship that's also a really cool looking knife. And then they've got also on their site the Nighthawk, which I also got. And here. So, and this one I showed on my Instagram, and I haven't done a video yet on this, but this was also on my SHOT Show video with Reich, okay? And they got quite a few views on that video, but this is a fascinating cutter, you know, just like but a nice long blade on this. 9CR18, but if you go online, I went on AliExpress, and the Nighthawk blades are available also in M390 for like, I don't know, $35 or something for a blade. But I mean, you could take this out and resharpen it. In fact, you can push this button, pull the whole blade right out, resharpen it, push it back in. It's a little fidgety with that. And there's like a billion different settings that this will lock into as far as length goes, okay? And this whole thing comes apart and goes back together without any screws. You see what I'm saying? You will when I do the video and show you how this comes apart without any tools at all. That kind of thing. It's fascinating. And I really like it. So this is on their site as well for like $250, and I'm sorry, but I had to go with it. I had to. I just found this like the most fascinating box cutter thing that I've ever seen. So, okay, let's get back to the Forever Steel Alkaid, because this is also crazy. And by the way, they did give me the tool, and you can see at the very end, there's these. And if you look here, you need that for the pivot, okay? And it looks like the rest of them are just Torxes, and then I don't know how to do that. But you know what? That's some stuff in there, isn't it? And I'm going to defer to disassemble this. I don't know, one day I might get gutsy enough to do that just as a challenge. But I'm looking this over and I'm a bit, yeah, this is some stuff. Reich, they are, how do you not Reich? I Reich them a lot. No, I mean, they're just, they're making all kinds of toys. Look on their site as well. They got a slingshot thing that's also a knife, and it holds its own ammo, and it's like $50. I'm going to do another couple of videos because also the little beetle thing that you hang around your neck is way cool, and I've got one of those as well. So, but I think I spent my wad, you know, because this, 520, 250. The beetle actually is like $50, but that's steel, and it's like just a user steel type blade. But I mean, it's way cool as well. So I'll get into that later. But what do you think about this? I mean, the fact that you've got a lockout here, and then you can disengage that, you can drop down, but you don't need to sheath it like this, because you can do this and just put it in your pocket. Or you can open it up, and then you can hit this button, and you can go back and forth, but it's locked in this position until you push this button, okay? Now it's locked in this position until you push that button. See what I'm saying? Maybe I'm being redundant, but then you can lock it up, and then you're not going to be able to release this, okay? So that is comforting to know. And then back to this, but if you want to, lock it up, and you're good to go. And the ergos are nice, but it's not a very big knife. So let's finish this territory here as far as just the stats, okay? 3-inch blade at best. You could argue a sub 3. So if that makes any difference to your ordinances, that you could probably argue that pretty well at about 75 millimeters. 6.5 inch overall length at 16.5 centimeters. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the blade, and this is the same width, I guess, as the blade. And let me get in here. Basically 4 millimeter at 0.15 overall fatness, and let's see, where's my thickest area? 0.63 at 16 millimeters. Okay, or point, let go of it. It's right in there, 0.62. So no, it's thick. Yes, it's thick. And weight-wise, take a look as well. Yeah, it's not real thin. Now, if I got this, I got it locked up. Okay, unlock. Yeah, this is way cool. I think it's fascinating. I don't know how practical it is, and that's not the point. It's 5 ounces at about 146 grams. Yeah, I mean, if you're, it's got to be practical, it's got to be whatever, then this is not for you. Conversation piece, oh hell yeah. And just the artistry, craftsmanship, imaginative, that's what gets it for me. That's what gets it for me. So take a look, and I mean, look at this. Is that insane? Wow. And that Rebel ship is also another forever steel type of product. And I'm not sure if here's the paperwork on the Nighthawk. And I go, are you just misspelling Nighthawk? And they go, no, because it means mechanic. And so let me do this. Mechanic. Okay? That's what they're telling me. Okay? And here's your stats if you want to pause and read, or go on the link below to Keto USA. Fascinating, huh? Wow. And when I do this video, I will include the disassembly videos, because Ian over at Keto did send me a couple of videos that show how to manually disassemble this with no tools. Okay? Here is your Beetle, $50. Now they're going to come out with this in M390 in titanium, but the gears roll around. Here's your Beetle horns and all that kind of stuff. You can see this, and you can see how it looks when it's opened, but this will get more specific because I have one of these. It's HCR, okay, but they're going to make one in titanium and M390, and I'm just imagining the price might not be $50 on those. And then the Rebel Ship, and if you saw my video, and I'll put the link below, the SHOT Show video, they also were disassembling that on that video, showing you how that, and those were not captured ceramic bearings. Those were wild and free, and yes, they were here and there, and he was putting them back in the bearing ring because some of them got away. But it'll show you what it looks like disassembled, but no tools needed, okay? A full tenon and mortise disassembled without tools. Not inexpensive. Crazy toys, though. Really interesting things. Check out Keto USA. I mean, they've always got something insane. And I don't know, I can't stay away from Reich knives and the unusual products that they build and put out there, because I'm fascinated with what you can do with modern day high-tech machinery, and what these guys' minds will conceive of. Because see, you can have the machine, but if you can't imagine this, you know, where do you go? Just fascinating. So I'll be looking forward to seeing your comments on this. This is, yeah, it's a one-hander. You can kick it open like that. Technically, but I think this is awkward and maybe slightly dangerous to try and do, to lift it and do this one-handed. So really, to tell you the truth, this is the easiest to do when you're pulling down here and pushing up here. That is really simple to close that thing up. And then, of course, lock and unlock. And this, fascinating. That also, you know, dual purpose knife. It's Optimus Prime, isn't it? It's all kinds of insanity. And I know I stumbled through this, but I'm just fascinated with it. And hopefully you are too, because we love them knives, gear, toys, whatever. You guys stay sharp.